I think Mr. Bolton should testify, and again, I would hope that Majority Leader McConnell and my Republican colleagues would realize, this is a constitutional responsibility. We need to have a full and fair trial. And National Security Advisor Bolton, who I understand has a book in process, it would be pretty remarkable if he published a book months from now that had answers that were relevant to this impeachment proceeding, and he wasn't presented an opportunity to present those facts before we take on this constitutional responsibility. My hope again will be that we get a chance to hear from everyone who's got first-hand knowledge. These are individuals that could clear the president. I don't understand why they're not being allowed to present their facts, and I find that very concerning. And this notion that we're going to go through the whole proceeding and then potentially have a chance to then decide whether we call witnesses or not doesn't pass the smell test.
Senator,
thank
you.
Thank you.
We have a minute, Senator.
I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote on something that hasn't even arisen yet. I don't know whether Nancy Pelosi is even going to send the articles of impeachment over here. She's using this sort of like a sword of Damocles hanging over the president for whatever purpose that sort of escapes me. So I'll take it as it comes, and we'll take it seriously and perform our constitutional duty.
So what do you think of John Bolton's offer, Senator?
We'll see. I have never seen a trial without a witness. And a handful of critical witnesses, including Mr. Bolton, that could provide and shed a lot of light on some of the critical moments in which aid to Ukraine was being held up for the political purposes of the president, I think would be highly instructive and very important to have. And I hope that the Republican leadership allows witnesses to take place at the end of the day. The administration has no strategy. And at the end of the day, what I am deeply concerned about is that a series of tactical actions by the president in the absence of a strategy are in the makings of a tragedy that the president has made. And what's at risk is national security and American lives. And so there is a need for both a pause and for the administration to figure out what its strategy is.
I think the dynamic right now is we don't have articles of impeachment from the House. Hopefully we'll get those, and when we do, the Senate will move forward, but that's going to require, hopefully, at least some cooperation from the Democrats. Right now, they seem to be intent on playing political games with this, but if the House will send it over and Senator Schumer will agree to sit down with Senator McConnell, we can work out a path forward, and we'll see where that leads. But I think at least initially we want to hear arguments. I think any decisions about witnesses will probably come later. In my view, if the House had wanted to, they could have called him, and they can still subpoena him. So I'm not sure that it's a Senate's job to complete the House's work or the House's record. I think our job is to pass judgment on the articles that they have sent over to us. That's the role that we have constitutionally in the Senate, and we intend to fulfill that responsibility and do our duty. But there will be at some point, I'm sure, a discussion about whether or not witnesses might be called, and at some point it's going to be a decision of whatever 51 senators decide they want to do. On the floor, and we'll try and as soon as it's ready to move, we will.
The four witnesses we asked to testify should testify. I think the documents that we've asked for should be in front of the American people, and it's important for us to have an independent and fair trial here. And I think that's what the American people expect.
What value would Bolton bring to it?
I think that he brings the value of having been there when they were discussing the Ukraine deal in the White House.
Does it put pressure on him?
The Clinton impeachment process allowed for witnesses to be determined after the opening arguments. I'm comfortable with that process. At this stage, I'd like to hear from John Bolton and other witnesses with direct information, but that process will accommodate that.
Do you think the process is going to accommodate hearing from John Bolton?
The Clinton process allows for a vote on witnesses to occur after the opening arguments.